Now we're hearing more and more about electric cars these days, and whether your interest is in saving the planet or saving money, there's some good reasons to have a look at electric cars. And the world's biggest selling electric car at the moment is the Nissan Leaf, which is why we're here in South London at Nissan to find out more about it. And I'm joined by Tendai here. So give us a reason why we should go electric.
It costs so much less to actually run the vehicle itself. You know, it's exempt from the congestion charge, it's exempt from tax. Charging from home can cost as little as, 2p a mile, so I mean the car's good for 100 miles, so that equates to about £2.
Well, let's have a look around.
If you open the door here, the car itself is made from 95% recyclable materials. I mean the seats themselves are made from sugarcane pulp. You're incredibly safe. It actually has 8 airbags.
So moving to the back of the car, it does look pretty much like a regular vehicle apart from no exhaust pipe.
Exactly. I mean, no emissions, there's no need for an exhaust because it's an electric car.
And what about the storage in the boot? Let's have a look at that.
Storage is ample. The seats themselves are foldable, so if you do need to increase the space in the boot, you can.
So coming to the driver's side, what's the difference here for the driver?
You have stereo controls. For the radio, you can actually choose the source between radio, CD and Bluetooth. You can pick up and answer calls directly from there, but things like cruise control where you can set and reset with a speed limiter as well. There's no actual physical ignition keyhole or anything. What you have is you have this push to start button right there. You put your foot in the brake to begin with, push to start, and then there is no ignition noise, but there is a chime to tell you that the car is now activated. The Leaf has your typical kind of cubby holes. You've got cup holders, and you even have this handy dandy glasses case holder, and also this hideaway compartment where you can keep keys, mobile phone, wallets out of sight. So here you have the gear selector. Push right and down for go, forwards, and to reverse is up and round to the top. Press P once you've finished parking. This car has no engine, so what you actually find underneath is an electric motor. No piston, no crankshafts, hardly any moving parts. As you go deep into the engine, that's where you actually find the actual motor itself. And on top here, what looks like a normal engine cover is actually the converter. So DC power goes in, gets converted into AC power, and that's how the car drives. You lift this hatch up and you'll find you've got 2 connections. Here is for the rapid charging I touched on earlier. And in the second port, you find that you have a normal domestic charge point. The idea is you get home, plug it in, starts charging.
And this is what you would find in your garage or the side of your wall at home or whatever?
Absolutely right. So the idea is to park up, plug up, and then let the car charge.
The real proof of the pudding is actually in the eating, or in this case, in the driving.
Of course. Okay, the keys. Enjoy the drive.
So I've got in the car and I've familiarised myself with everything, and it actually looks fairly straightforward. The only thing that's a bit unnerving is you get in and it's silent. We push it into this mode and we can't hear the engine, but I guess we're off. It's like every other car, you have to get used to it when you first get in, so you familiarise yourself with it. But everything seems to work. It feels just like any other car. It doesn't feel exceptionally different. You've got all of the buttons quite easy and handy here. The sight lines towards the speed that you're going. It is interesting having this split level screen that you're looking at, but actually how nice not to have a steering wheel that's actually blocking half of the instruments that you can see. The acceleration, that's not bad. That was foot to the floor. Well, actually the brakes are really, really responsive. But the interesting thing, as we've heard, is that this car, when you brake, it actually puts some of the power back into the engine. So actually you're boosting the power of the batteries by braking. We're here at a junction that's really weird because it's now completely silent, and you're wondering, if I put my foot on the accelerator, is it going to go? Fortunately, it does. We just saw a cat in the middle of the road and we were wondering if the cat could actually hear us. Now apparently as you're driving along, if you're going less than 20 miles an hour, it'll actually make a slight whistling sound to alert any pedestrians to where you are. It's quite nice seeing a petrol station here, knowing that we can just go straight on past without having to worry about filling up and being worried about how much the price of petrol is, when this is, what was it, 2 pence a mile? You charge the car up from nothing and it's going to be £2. And in fact, most of the places that you go, if you go to any of the charging points around the country, at motorway services and so on, it's free. So if I think I'm about to run out of power, I'm a little bit uncertain and I want to recharge, then there's this button that you just push here, and then I can push nearby stations. It says nearest to current location or near my destination, so I'm going to save my nearest location to where I am right now. Now the only options I've got that are very near here are the single plugs, and that means that's a fairly slow charge, so maybe between 4 to 6 hours or something like that. But then there's this one here, which is the rapid charge. So if I push that one, and that'll show me exactly where it is to a DC quick charge or domestic socket. So let's push the quick charge and it'll show me on the map. And if I press route details, I don't want that one, I press that one, and I say yes, and it's going to set it as a new destination, and then off I go. So maybe that'll actually help with this so-called range anxiety. One of the nice things about the displays is that the sat-nav automatically goes into camera mode as soon as you put the car into reverse, and you can see it's a very clear display which works very, very well, and you can see exactly how you're doing. The controls are incredibly easy to use, I must give it that much. And I was trying to think what it was the car reminded me of as we accelerate away, and the only thing I can think of, it's like being on an electric train. Very, very quiet, but you can hear that sort of building up of speed as you move forward. I had to turn earlier on, and it was amazing how good the turning circle was on the car. Very good. Maybe there's not the clutter of engine to get in the way. Now this kind of housing, of course, is the ideal target market for the Nissan Leaf. You've got off-street parking, plenty of space to put your car, and to have that charging point. The challenge I can see is in very central London, where you can't guarantee that you're going to be able to park your car outside your house. And even if you can, and you haven't got off-street parking, how are you going to deal with the cable? But of course then maybe you can then charge your car where you go to work each day, or maybe you have a regular spot that you can find where you can recharge the car. So certainly not the end of the world, and Ancaster were telling me that they've got clients who actually live in flats who can manage it. So I guess it is possible. It does make you wonder how many years it'll be before we're all driving something like this, and also how far the technology is going to go. Well, I have to admit I was fairly sceptical about driving an electric car, but it's certainly been a pleasant surprise. It might not be the most exciting car to drive, but there's a lot of practicalities with this, certainly in terms of saving money. I think I might take it out for another spin. In the meantime, thank you to Tendai and everybody here at Ancaster in South London. And if you'd like more details about the Nissan Leaf, you can follow the links below. This is Alastair Greener for South West London TV in South London.